Hi, Jason. Where are we at, man?
We are at the Dirt House. Wayne Richard Wells,
Also known.
professionally known as Wayne Static. Middle of nowhere desert getaway. And it's not much. A little 620 square foot house with a garage. I believe that's where the recording studio might have been.
I don't think there's much of a garage. It's more like a shed.
It's just like a wooden structure over a dirt floor. But seeing how the property looks right now, it's in bad shape. Looks like somebody's trying to do something with it though. Went online and looked up the public record and found out that it's owned by a trust now. So who knows?
But that's fairly common, though. A lot of people don't realize that trust is the way rich people avoid taxes,
True.
right? So,
But the only thing the trust is going to tell you is, the lawyer, the attorney, whoever that did the trust.
yep,
It's
that's
not
it.
going to tell you the owner. So if you're watching this, it's a cool place. Some cool history for anybody that's a Static X fan, definitely. Just looking at all this, man, like being out in the middle of nowhere, and I mean, you can't hardly hear anything except the wind and maybe a few cars way down the road. And if you're into off-road, this is it. You can just rip out of your driveway and go straight to King of the Hammers. It's wild. But looks like all the crazy paint colors that they had got all covered up on the front of the house there.
Yeah, it used to be a kaleidoscope of colors. And we'll show you guys some pictures of what that used to look like. But that section of the house there used to be a nice myriad of colors, including that little fence right there. He kind of set up a privacy fence over there so nobody can give them can disturb them. A lot of you guys are like, why is an off-road channel talking about some rocker, Static X, whatever, right? And the answer is simple, guys. I'm a big fan of his. I wouldn't say like I'm a uber fan, but I'm a pretty big fan of his. Jason here is the proper uber fan, right? Like you're properly geeked out on them.
Yeah, I've followed Static X ever since their first album came out in '99, and I've had a lot of I don't know what the word I'm looking for is.
Good times.
Good times.
So, for me, dude, they're a great band. The tempo of their music, because they're technically considered metal, right? And what's the technical jargon for?
I guess you could say like new metal, or
it was
like groove metal, or
and to me, it's like it's perfect tempo music when you're bombing down the desert. I listen to Ministry, Static X, and stuff like that when I'm going down the desert, and it just gets me in the zone, and it's perfect music for being very aggressive. That and, I have my weird stuff like Mr. Fiji Ouija, right? The Mentalist, that song is perfect for bombing down the road. It's like my Zen, my Zen song. But Static X is, it's the type of music that I listen to when I'm going down the desert. The last band that I truly geeked out on was Korn, right? I did that in high school. I love those guys.
Yeah, I started with Korn. Korn was great. Through the years, they've changed a lot. Mm-hmm. Static X just had that sound, that consistency.
And I mean, he had that iconic look too, right? Like, how the hell did he keep his hair up like that?
Lots and lots of hairspray.
Right, but this right here was his home, right? This was his home towards the later part of his life, because he was a big-time off-roader. And that's one of the reasons why we're here. He had a kind of like an Ultra 4 style Bronco that was built up. I don't know all the specs. I'll cut here to all the specs of that thing, but it was pretty badass. And he would come out here to enjoy that and bomb around the trails around Johnson Valley.
Let's go.
was a rocker and a true off-roader, man. And
He also had that K5 Blazer on 1-ton axles, and
yeah.
he wasn't so much into the same type of off-roading that we are, but it's still off-roading.
No, he was more into the rock crawling Ultra 4 stuff. It was still fast. It was still some fast stuff. But one thing that surprised me that I didn't know till Jason turned me on to this is how humbly the guy lived. This is a small house, even for this area. It's a very small house.
It's like 620 square feet, roughly, and there ain't nothing to it.
No, it's like
a one-bedroom, one-bath.
And it's probably all in the same room.
Yeah.
The sad part about why this is kind of a landmark to Static X folks is this is where he died.
It's also where he recorded the last album with as Static X. So Cult of Static.
Not just recorded it, but this is where he wrote it. I actually have an interview with him talking about how he wrote it, and all the inspiration came from being out here alone in the desert in what was like this was his happy place. Right?
Yes, exactly.
To Joshua Tree, I've been out there once. What is it about that place that attracts creative, maybe a little bit eccentric types of people?
It's a really special place. It's just there's a vibe out there that's just so calm and there's no distractions like in this city, and it's so beautiful. There's nowhere else like it on the world, in the planet. It's it's hard to describe. You have to go there.
Totally agree.
And experience it for yourself to really understand.
Unfortunately, he did die here, right? He died of an accidental but very powerful overdose of painkillers, right, or something like that.
Yeah, it's wild how it happened, but I don't want to speculate too much on all that. I mean, there's a lot of people on the fence with why he passed and reasons, people behind it. I don't want to get into that. That's not what it's about.
No, that's not at all. I mean, his wife was a big part of his life there at the end. Their story of how they met is hilarious.
We're always together, and we like it that way.
Well, yeah, well, that's good. I mean, you had mentioned you guys met on tour and stuff. You probably talked about that a lot in interviews and everything, but what was it kind of like?
Well, it was Ozfest of 2007, and I was out promoting my Hustler spread. His tour manager is like, hey, do you girls want to come give Static X shots? I was so confused. I was like, I don't drink alcohol. And they're like, no, you give them the shots. I was like, oh, okay. So I was a huge fan. Like, I was like, whenever I knew I was coming on this tour, I was like, I am hooking up with Wayne Static of Static X. I don't care what I have to go through. But the first day I was there, it was like, boom, thank you.
Yeah.
So I come out with just electrical tape on my boobs with his shot glass in between them. And he just starts laughing and blushing like a little boy. I'm like,
shy. Like, here's this beautiful girl. And I didn't know her, she's got her boobs out. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like...
And then I was like, I'm sorry, I'm a porn star and I masturbate to you every day. But then I didn't realize his microphone picked up. Like 20,000 people just started cheering like crazy, but I thought it was just because I had my boobs out. And then find out after I get off stage, all his texts and everything, it's like, that was picked up on the microphone. And then you were like...
Yeah, I said, my tour manager is like, told him, go get the masturbating girl.
Yeah.
Bring her back to the bus. Go do it.
So I'm guessing, was that kind of a turn on for you hearing that then, or what?
Well, duh.
He wanted to see if it was true.
Yeah. So he brought her back to the bus, and
the next words I said was like, so when do I get to put your cock in my mouth? And he's like, let's go. And then we were inseparable ever since.
She was a big inspiration for the last album as well.
Was she now?
Yes.
Now, I know this is probably a subject that some fans don't like, but don't get me wrong. His music was always awesome. I even liked some of his solo stuff, but she kind of came across as kind of like a Yoko type. Especially if you watch old interviews, it was always him and her, always.
Always.
And then they always talked about how she did vocals on one of the songs and all that stuff, so it was kind of odd.
Now, this is a very touchy subject amongst the fan base. You have the people out there on one hand that think she was great and they were an awesome couple, which I think they are. And there's other people out there that say that she's the reason why Static X parted ways. But
if you watch interviews of him, there was a lot of contentions with him and his band for a long time, right? Even before she joined.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff, stuff behind the scenes.
Well, it's the normal things that happen when you spend so much time with the same people over and over again. You tend to have your disagreements, and some of them go a little too far.
You just finished a a while doing your solo thing. So what part of you does that satisfy that maybe Static X doesn't?
The selfish part of me that wants to do everything by myself and control everything and not compromise and not have to listen to anybody else's opinion.
All right,
And
fair
that
enough.
was really the point of all of it, because during Static X, over all the years, I had to listen to producers and drummers and bass players and guitar players and try to compromise and all this and keep everyone happy and all that. And for Pig Hammer, it was me and an engineer in the studio. I called all the shots. I played all the instruments. I wrote everything. I did everything by myself, and it was very gratifying because I've wanted to do that for so long.
They've definitely switched it up throughout the years as far as members of the band and guys leaving, guys coming back. Tony Campos is I think the only one that's stayed true the whole time. He was in the band from the start to till now. And he's the one that spearheaded the whole Project Regeneration, releasing all of Wayne's unfinished work, which I think is amazing. I think that's so awesome that they're able to do that and put it out there for the fans to enjoy his final works.
That's the main reason why I wanted to check it out. It's a Legends house. Kind of wanted to see it. It was his happy place. It was his place to go, and I can relate to that, right? My happy place is out here in the desert, enjoying some trails, and just getting out of my head. So I can understand why he loved this area. It's one of the areas that I wish I could get a house in, honestly.
Yeah.
So we're going to go check out the house. It is a fenced off property. We're not going to share the address, guys. A super fan will be able to find it, but we're not going to share the address out of respect for the owners. But you can't access the house, unfortunately, due to the flooding, all the flood damage recently. So we are going to walk around. We're going to try to be as respectful. We're not here for souvenirs. We're not here for any of that crap.
No.
And we're not going to go inside either. We're just going to kind of walk around this little courtyard area where he was at, check it out, show it to you guys, because it is a pretty cool spot. And it's also going to be surprising to a lot of you with how modest he lived. I think it's going to be really surprising to many.
Uber modest.
Yeah. But he said it multiple times in interviews. This was his retreat. This is where he felt inspired, and he wrote a whole album here.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a sobering experience to kind of come and see it, just because there's no memorial site. There's no grave that you can go pay your respects.
Really?
And
There's not?
No.
How was he buried? Or
one of his wishes, but he wanted to be cremated. He didn't believe in the whole burying ritualistic type,
So are his ashes out here, you think?
So one of the things that he said was he wanted to be cremated and his ashes spread where he used to, jam in his truck. So it could be out here. I don't know. That
Johnson
information.
Valley. There's a lot of area out here. This is the mecca for off-roading out here. High desert, and he was in a spot that was perfectly positioned. So let's go check it out.
Yeah.
My hair was...
Yeah, this is wild. I wonder if this is all of his old furniture and whatnot that they pulled out of the house.
I don't think this is his furniture because we saw the pics of it when it was sold to the estate sale and it was empty. I think this is people, how there's certain people that come out and their way of celebrating a place is to party at it.
Yeah.
I think that's what this is.
It's kind of wild to think that somebody would come out here to party and nobody over here would stop them. It's wild.
So to you, Static X kind of has a special meaning though, right, dude?
It does. Got into them in '99 pretty heavily. I enjoyed their music. Their first album was killer. Shortly after, I was still in high school, but shortly after 2002 when I graduated, I enlisted in the Marine Corps. And I was in the Marine Corps for 10 and a half years. So I left California and Static X in a way came with me. My final deployment was 2009. We were on the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit, ship-based, going all over the place. We stopped in Kuwait for sustainment training, and at the same time, I kind of fell into a downward spiral. Just my life, everything around me kind of came crashing down at the time. And my only escape happened to be a mobile PX in the middle of Kuwait, and I was able to find a copy of Cult of Static. a CD, and I listened to that throughout the entire deployment. That was like my soundtrack to the deployment, just because it pulled me out of all the stuff I was thinking about, all the craziness, and it pretty much got me through my final time in the Marine Corps. Got me through the Marine Corps, off and on, jamming out all the time, just good driving music, and then towards my last deployment, it played a big role, even bigger role than that. So I appreciate the music. This looks like a lot of crazy sculpture type stuff over here. Bunch of like railroad track ties, spikes.
Did he do art and stuff like that too?
I don't know. I never heard anything about that part. I don't know what this could be. If it was his or if it was somebody else that took over the property. Or, like we said, it could just be people dumping stuff.
Somebody definitely owns it. It's all locked up.
Yeah,
I think somebody's trying to fix it, hopefully, but it's in pretty bad shape, man.
this is just a dirt floor garage. Off to the side was like a little platform, and
Ain't
they
that
do
cool?
have cameras.
Where? Oh, I
Got
see
one
him.
right there, one right there.
I see him.
That's cool though. We're not messing with anything. We're just walking through.
His little shed is open.
Oh wow, this is crazy. It's it's kind of sad that he's not around anymore, because I think this would have been like a cool spot to come kick it.
It's pretty small.
It's super small.
It almost looks like he made that garage specifically for his 2 tracks, man.
Pretty much. But they had a plethora of cars, apparently. Some people I've talked with in the forums and whatnot are giving me all the scoop. And I believe one of his favorite cars was the Challenger, Dodge Challenger.
What year was it?
It was one of the newer ones. Newer at the time, so when they first came back out with the Challenger. So, but you could tell that he was definitely a gearhead, just in the music that he wrote and the cars and stuff that he had. And he had an old Z28 Camaro that he unfortunately had to sell when times got a little tough. But I think later on he was able to either buy it back or buy a new one, a different one.
His view is something.
Yeah, dude. Imagine stepping out into your front yard and seeing that every day. Just saying, hey, I'm going to wake up and take the truck over to those hills and just be gone for a day. It's really cool that we're able to come out here and see this for what it used to be. But I wish it was still what it was, if that makes sense. It's cool that we're here seeing it now, but it's at the same time it's also sad that we're here seeing it now.
So it looks like whoever owns it is trying to fix it now.
That's cool.
You see their boots right there. So that's cool that they're trying to fix it.
Very cool.
This was his bedroom, dude. This was what his view was out of his bedroom. I could see why. I'd want this to be my view. It's nice and quiet out here, man. I like it. Selfie. It's a cool spot. I can see why he liked it.
Definitely.
That view. That view is everything.
The view, the easy access to the off-road, everything.
So now that you've been here, man, what do you think?
I think it's cool as hell. I mean, I can definitely see why he would have wanted to live here. I mean, the way the world's going now, I wish I could be this far away from people too.
The drawback is the commute, right?
The commute's wild, dude. Like, so this is roughly 77 miles from my door to this place. And Friday, traffic, plus that fire didn't help. And it took us, what, like 2 hours to get here?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the closest thing for food and groceries and supplies is the Dollar General.
To here, yeah. There's
here.
other options, but it's a little bit farther drive.
Yeah, I can definitely see why he picked this as his place to live. This is, seclusion, easy access to the trails and off-road. This would have been, the life.
No, it's too hot. I wouldn't live out here.
You couldn't live out here?
No, I could not live out here.
But it's so awesome out here.
No, it's not.
There's like no people.
I'm dying.
That's the best part about it, is no people.
No.
She said no, Jason.
Time to get in the truck and fire up the AC.
Says no.
But no, definitely for him and his lifestyle, what a badass. This cool little one-room, one-bathroom shack, the garage bigger than the house, for all his off-road toys and equipment and everything else that he had. Just what a cool way to live. It's a shame.
You gotta live the dream, for sure. A dream that we kind of wish we had too, right?
Definitely.
If you do visit this place, guys, please be respectful. It's still private property.
Somebody is actively trying to fix it up, so that's awesome. I wish them luck.
As we were leaving, we did get approached by the neighbors. The guy was monitoring his house. He did see us there, and he was freaking out a little bit and almost called the sheriff's department. Luckily, he has a good neighbor, though.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest fears going out there, was having a neighbor run up on us and like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And it happened, but luckily,
He was
dude
cool
was
about
cool. So, thanks for being so cool. If you're seeing this, man, we appreciate it.
Yeah, neighbor was super cool, and he also kind of gave us a little bit more insight on the property. Now, before you guys decide to go out there and check out the property, keep in mind it is monitored. The new owner has no idea who Wayne Static is, so please don't bother him about that.
Nope.
And he is keeping an eye on it, and he's very concerned because after he died and the house was left on its own for a little bit before his wife died, it was actually gutted. And it's a real big problem out there. Somebody came in there and stole everything that was inside and went as far as stealing all the copper, all the fixtures.
Out of the walls.
Out of the walls, yeah.
The corrugated metal on the roof.
Yeah, and we're not talking just like, just the copper on the cabling, the copper on the tubing, everything. And it's a problem out there. So, when they sold it in 2018, it was in a pretty bad state with everything that was taken off of it. And then when the gentleman did finally buy it, you saw all the extra trash and everything they got left there. And that's just tweakers doing what they do out
things.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, come to for the views and the off-road, stay for the math.
Yep. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you're a Static X fan, if you want to visit it, stay outside the fence because the owner will call the cops on you or sick his neighbor on you. And be respectful. Don't be a dick. The neighbor did let us know that he's had a couple confrontations with some people visiting the place and then being very rude and very, confrontational to the point that he had to go back home and...
They chased him back to his property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do that,
cool.
guys. Don't do that because then you're going to see some major changes to something like this, right?
Yeah.
Nobody will be able to get to it. So be respectful. Just talking to that guy, though, you find out a lot of cool stuff, right? Like, the guy that bought it, he's an LA dude.
Apparently, we're LA dudes.
Yes.
And we have LA trucks. And he could just tell by our trucks that we weren't causing any trouble. They thought we were investors wanting to buy the property or something. So
yeah, the way they see themselves out there, guys, is most of the guys out there see themselves as kind of hillbillies, right? They're out in the middle of nowhere. They know they live in shacks and they wouldn't have it any other way. They love it. They're not too kind about people coming up and renting all their properties and all that stuff.
As he described, it was a lot of weird stuff is happening with this LA money coming into town.
Yep.
So.
But he did let us know that, when he was there, he didn't actually know him. He didn't get to meet him or anything like that. He was very private. Wayne Static was very private. He didn't, really talk to his neighbors. But he did find out that he would regularly perform at a local, I guess you could say it's a restaurant or a brew pub or something like that.
Yeah, it's like right down the road. It's like a pretty popular spot, I guess, during all the off-road races and stuff that happen out that way.
So Wayne Static used to always perform at those, right? It may be where he worked out some of his songs and all that stuff. but he was very private. He never got to see the property until after he died, right? And new ownership started coming in.
Yep.
He was super cool about it. He tried to get us in contact with the new owner, but the new owner, he's not a Static X fan, and he's kind of weird about all the attention, and he's more concerned about losing his investment, right? Because he is trying to restore it.
And he's had some bad run-ins as it is. You know, people broke into the garage and took his side-by-side. And
oh, yeah.
the cops, you know, pulled the guys over and ended up calling the dude and said, hey, we got your side-by-side. And he goes, no, you don't got my side-by-side. It's in the garage. And they said, no, we got it. It's right here, and we're going to impound it if you don't come get it. So luckily, the neighbor was cool enough, and he went and picked it up for him. So that was cool.
It is a cool little spot. You kind of had a moment out there, man. Even from the time we got there to just walking around, normally you're very chatty. You weren't too chatty that day.
It's just maybe just the whole vibe of the place, you know, just because that's where he created, you know, and that's where all this stuff that, you know, this is the actual album that I picked up in Kuwait. You know, that's where that was made. You know, that's where it came from, and there's a lot of influence from that area on his music. So it was really cool. You know, just kind of a lot to take in, even though there wasn't a lot there. What's really cool though is the band got the rights to all his unreleased work, and they released Project Regeneration, and that in itself is just amazing that they're able to do that. And there's another album coming out again here, I think November. It's going to come out, and it has even more stuff on it. So definitely looking forward to that.
Now the band is on tour now, right? With a guy that sounds a lot like him.
Yep. So they got a new frontman. He goes by Zero. Everybody thinks they know who he is. There's a lot of people that have said who he is, but he himself has never come out and, you know, given it away that is who he is. And I think that's awesome, because it kind of keeps, you know, he wears a mask of, you know, basically like an effigy of Wayne during the shows, and it's like an awesome way to pay tribute, you know.
Yeah. So if you guys want to check them out and reminisce a little bit on the music, they are on tour now. I think they're in tour until October or.
So the tour, I think the tour actually starts in October, and it just runs throughout until November 1st. So
Yeah.
they're going to a lot of places. It's a U.S. tour.
It's a crazy tour. I looked at the tour dates. Every single day they're performing, and sometimes they only have like a day off, man. They're almost performing straight for a month. It's nuts. It's a very crazy tour schedule.
I got lucky enough. I got tickets, and I will be at the Anaheim House of Blues with VIP passes to see them on Halloween night. So that'll be awesome.
Nice. I think that's it, right? I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was kind of a cool experience to go check out his house. Very kind of cool to see how humble this guy lived, right? And he's an off-roader, right? That was kind of a surprise to me. He's an off-roader, and definitely going to be putting more of his songs back on my playlist. I only had a few of his songs. I had like the hits, right? Like Push It and I'm What's Stupid and all that stuff, and Cold.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely going to be looking at a whole lot more of his songs, right? Kind of a little bit of appreciation, right?
Scroll through my playlist and get some ideas, because you'll find just about all of them there.
Yeah. But, all right, guys. Question, comments below, and see you guys on the next one.
Later.